There is yesterday's temperatures. So let's turn on the car and see if it updates to today's temperatures. No? Nothing? Sounds a lot warmer. Yeah, 0. Water temperature -3, still cold from the day before, but air temperature 0, so it's just rain today instead of snow and ice. Got my high idle going. So let's get her into the garage, change the oil seals. Oil cooler seals. Now let's do this. Better than yesterday. This used to fit. Found my lucky hat. It's gonna be a good day, I hope. So there's the leaky oil cooler. It's attached to the bottom of the oil filter housing. And if you're not sure what an oil cooler is, well, it's got 2 hoses coming out the side there. It's got oil going up the middle of it, and it exchanges the heat. And the design, in case nobody's shown this before, is kind of like a spin-on oil filter, except it can't spin on because there's 2 hoses sticking out the sides. One hose there, one hose there. Hose A, hose B. No way, hose A. Hose B. So there's a seal like that, a square edge seal on the bottom, another square edge seal on the top of it, and a big bolt that goes to the bottom to hold it on. So that's what I'm going to attempt to remove. Jack, stand under the subframe bolt. Just lower that in till it touches. Yeah. The other side. For when the insurance investigator is like, oh gee, don't know, the thing, he had the jack stands up on the same notch and everything. Not sure why the car fell on him. Bring that in. There we go. It's dripping everywhere. There's snow. You know that the people who make the puppy pads make the plastic easy to remove? So now it's a double-sided puppy pad. And you could throw that down, absorb from the bottom and the top. You know what I'm saying? This is upside down, isn't it? Oh, it piddled right onto the puppy pad. A little bit of oil there from the corner. So it's jacked up, ready to remove the beautiful cover I put on at the start of winter. So I'm still dripping a bit. Time to gather some tools. Tools you'll need for the job are, well, garbage can. Let's just say all of them, because that's the way it usually turns out. Need the parts. There's the 2 O-rings, one fancy one square. Extra oil. Doesn't need an oil change, so I'm hoping to just extract. Where's the oil extractor? Where's the oil? Extract oil out of the, directly out of the cooler itself using my oil oh, where's the hose? There's the hose. Gather your tools. Cheers. Send us a job. Have you seen my... I like my space. Okay. Fresh cardboard, that's good. More fresh cardboard for when that one gets soaking wet. And I don't want to get gross, because you shouldn't have to get soaked through. Look at all the snow that's still up there. Breathe deeply. Enjoy the moment. Anyone notice I didn't have quite enough paper towels? That should just barely do it. Toothbrush. Larger brush. Oh, that's a steel one. I don't want to use that one. well, you get the idea. Just, there you go. There's a nice one. No, it's not time to engage cardboard yet. I want to let that drip as long as possible. The water, that is. Well, I take off oil filter housing cap. And, ooh, that was full? That's what they're talking about. That thing will stay full. And all fall out the bottom when you take the oil cooler off the bottom. So take this out first. And drain a bit. I'm going to reuse that. Just put that in there for now. Okay, so now we're looking in there and we can't see much. Except that I'm pretty sure one of the holes in there goes down, 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 down. There's a hole in front, a hole in the middle, but there's a hole further towards the front, would be the center of the axis of the oil cooler, is where the big bolt that goes up through the older oil cooler is going to come up. So I'm going to try to suck some oil out of there. I'm going to need 2 hands though, I'm sorry. There we go, maybe I can film some of this. So yeah, I think I was right, that's the bolt hole from the oil cooler down the front there. So I've sucked as much as I can out of there. Now I can clean up the housing a little bit. There you go. Just to avoid the amount of oil that splashes out when I take that big nut off, which again goes down this hole here. Oh, I'm blocking the light. Figures. Where's the lens on this thing? There's the bottom of the oil cooler, or the bottom of the oil cooler bolt, which is hollow and has a hole at the bottom so the oil can flow through it. Get the idea yet? I don't know. Don't worry about it. Just enjoy the sounds. What's this hole do? All right. Good, 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 good. Yep. That's ready to come off that panel. And then we have access. Actually cleaned up kind of nice. So there's a mess. There's the oil cooler. There's the big nut. With the bolt that runs up the center. And up above you can see the housing for the oil filter, and you can see how this is offset towards the front of the car, so it runs up to a port that's off center of the oil filter cartridge to the front of it. So yeah, clean up the top and then unscrew that and see what goodies are inside. 10mm socket. I don't think this bolt has ever been out. Anyway, working on cleaning up the top. Rather than undo these zip ties, I'm going to take out 1 bolt. 2 zip ties, 1 bolt. 2 perfectly placed zip ties. 1 self going back in the same place bolt. I'm taking out the bolt. Also, I forgot to mention, there's no AC compressor down there in the corner and no AC lines. So that's why you're able to get a good view from the bottom there. Almost lost my 10mm. Back over there. So that was a good idea. That's the line that goes down from the alternator, your charging cable, I guess. Yeah, lots of access to clean the top there. Because there's going to be an O-ring around the top there, and when you put it back on, you don't want the shmoo. And you're thinking, why don't you just clean it after you take it off? Because I don't want to disconnect the coolant hoses, the 2 hoses that come in from the side, oil cooler. I want to just work on the oil side. I don't want to work on coolant. You know, 1 fluid is enough for me for 1 day. Breathe. That's as clean as it's going to get. Got some clean gloves on because we're going to the inside. Hopefully. Get my paper towels a bit closer. Take off that nut and see what comes out. I don't have the size of nut that is. It's more than 30 millimeters, that's all I know. So we're going to use the Old Faithful here, but do you think it'll turn this way? Like right like that? Probably not, eh? Oh, I'm going to be so screwed. Oh, the top wants to turn. Yep. There we go. I just grabbed her by the protruding coolant hoses there and started to twist, and look at that, there's some oil weeping out already. Well, that should clean up. Got a salty trip on my mouth. Should clean everything up a little bit. Let's see what happens here. Is it going to be right up the sleeve or what? Oh yeah, we'll just let that run a little bit. Yeah. So like I said, I didn't want to drain all the oil out of the engine. Just up to the top of that. That's okay. That's okay. That's what the oil pan is for. Oh, it looks like the top is coming down. There's a gap opening up at the top. Oh, onto the wristwatch. Alrighty. Well, you get the idea. Ah, this is nice. Just lying here on the cardboard. It's not that cold. Glad I waited till today to do this. This is nice. There you go, it's all apart. And that's why I say it's just like if you had a spin-on oil filter, you could bypass this whole thing with a spin-on oil filter, but that would be bad, of course, because your oil wouldn't exchange heat with the coolant, so your engine wouldn't cool properly, and your oil would be destroyed and all whatever. But there you go. So there's the bolt. One O-ring goes in there, another O-ring goes on top. Put that back in, tighten it up just like an oil filter, basically. Except you're compressing two O-rings, so maybe give it a little extra snug. There's a torque setting, but I'm going to do it by hand, of course. All right. Clean that up and put it back together. And I tighten the nut by hand, just like I tighten this one. It's basically the same size of thing that's sealing, so. And what does this one say, 25 Newton meters? I think that's close to whatever. Anyway, hand tightened it and then gave it a little extra. Now I'm going to check the oil, which is apparently still on the stick. Let's do this one with my hand. Okay, that's still at the top of the stick from where I topped it up the other day. But regardless, I mean, we didn't lose that much, I guess. Regardless, I'm going to fill the housing, which fills the oil cooler, because that stick won't be indicating what's not in the oil cooler, because stuff. Okay, like I said, we're going to fill this. And I'm just guessing, yeah, we'll just let it do that. That'll go down into somewhere. Hopefully the oil cooler. I think it did. Some air bubbles came up from that front hole, the hole closest to the front of the car, yeah. In fact, it's still sort of bubbling. But that center hole probably goes down to somewhere else, so maybe I should have filled it more slowly. Anyway, there'll be enough oil in the engine once it starts, and I'll move it around to all the important places and all that good stuff. Alright. So close. So close. Oh no, look at that. No more bubbles. Oh, so close. Here we go. Open the garage door. I'm ready to start her up. Reach into my inner pockets, find my inner keys. Check to see if the freezing rain has turned to thawing rain yet. No, the freezing rain is still frozen. But it should thaw. I'm not going to throw a bunch of salt on that. Alrighty. Oh, still up on the stands, but we'll start it anyway. The front wheels might start spinning. Hopefully, right there. Take it down off the jack stands. Take it for a test drive. Oh, should I put the engine cover back on? Probably. This one here, just about. Come on. Eep. Give it a wipe. There you go. It's like it never happened. Nice.